Hey everybody, it's Andy from Estella's Revenge, and I'm here today with a review of The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. And what a chunkster this classic is. It's 700 pages. It's been a little while since I've read one this long, and I have to admit straight off, it took me about 6 weeks to read this book. Totally not the book's fault. It's not a commentary on the book. It's really more a commentary on everyday life around my house that it took me this long to read it. I was reading it with the Estella Society for the Wilkie and Winter read-along event, and so I kept spacing out my posts and my thoughts on this book at specific intervals, and so it took a little bit longer. This book is split into 3 epics, and it deals with a mystery. This was considered one of the first and greatest thrillers known as sensation novels. And I can honestly say that this was a very suspenseful book. There were a lot of times I really didn't know how Wilkie Collins was going to bring everything together, was going to solve the mysteries that he had set up, but it all came together pretty beautifully. So this is a story told in varying narrators, the first of which, and one of the main characters, is Walter Hartwright. He is a young gentleman who is hired as a drawing master at an estate called Limeridge. And so he is the drawing master to 2 young ladies, Laura and Marion, who are, I believe they were half-sisters is the way that worked. But they are kind of polar opposites. Marion is incredibly insightful, and she's very observant and discreet and kind of fearless and just really smart. Just a heroine that you really want to root for. And then her sister Laura is kind of the cookie-cutter damsel in distress. Beautiful but dumb as a box of rocks. Thanks, Wilkie. And it's also kind of unfortunate that Marion, in all her wisdom and wily wonderfulness, is ugly. And it made me giggle a little bit because when she's introduced in the story, Walter sees her from a distance and he's, kind of commentating on how beautiful her body is and she's very well put together and womanly, and then she turns around and the other shoe drops. So anyway, Walter becomes very close friends with Marion. He falls in love with Laura, and that's kind of where everything kicks off. There is a very mysterious character in this book named Anne Catherick. She is the Woman in White, mentioned in the title. And I won't tell you exactly what part she plays in this book, but she is definitely an enigma in the book that kind of helps carry the mystery along. We also meet Sir Percival Glyde, who is Laura's intended husband, and it kind of sets up a love triangle between Walter, Laura, and Sir Percival. And we know straight off that he is not a nice man. There's something very wrong with him. He's highly suspect, but we don't exactly know why. And then we meet one of his greatest friends and confidants, Count Fosco. And Count Fosco is probably one of the greatest characters I've ever met in literature. He is most certainly one of my favorite villains now. He is an older man. He is described as hugely fat and indulgent. He has a sweet tooth, so he's always sneaking tarts here and there. He's very flamboyant in the way that he dresses and the way that he carries himself. He is a gentleman. He really treats Laura and Marion as ladies, even when Sir Percival is making an ass of himself. Count Fosco is kind of the one that pulls him back and says, we have to watch ourselves, but we know that he is a villain, that he is the driving force between a lot of the mystery that goes on in this novel. And so he's just a great villain because he does it so well. He does villainy with so much style. It was just fabulous. So I just love this story. I love this book. It was a treat. I actually liked seeing the story carried out from various points of view, and that's usually something that bugs me in more contemporary novels, but it was just done beautifully in this story, and without that method, it would have been a much shorter book, which some might say is not a bad thing, but it would have lost some of its appeal and some of its mystery for me. Wilkie Collins was good buddies with Charles Dickens. I think you can see that shine through in some of the wordiness and some of the approach in this novel, though Wilkie Collins certainly has a very distinctive voice of his own, and I will most definitely be reading more of Wilkie Collins. I know I want to read The Moonstone, and I also read The Frozen Deep at the end of last year, and I don't think I ever got around to reviewing that here, so maybe I will do that as well. But yes, this book is fabulous. I could have raced through it much quicker than I did, so again, don't let that be a commentary on the fabulousness of this book. It is absolutely worth the read, and, you know, if you want to save it for like an October spooky read, that would be a great time too. But definitely jump on this one, and I hope y'all enjoy it as much as I did. Bye.